In recent years, headlines have been dominated by a new crisis, the so-called male loneliness epidemic. We're told that men are uniquely isolated, that feminism has somehow pushed them out of the dating pool, and that society should be alarmed. But here's the question. Is that really true? Let's start with the data. A 2025 Pew Research Center survey of more than 6,000 U.S. adults found that about 1 in 6 Americans, roughly 16%, reported feeling lonely all or most of the time. Importantly, the survey revealed no significant gender gap. Men and women reported similar levels of loneliness. Contrary to the headlines, men are not more lonely than women. They do not report fewer close friendships, nor do they experience isolation at higher rates. So why does the idea of a male-only crisis persist?
Did you all know that there's a male loneliness epidemic in the United States right now?
Epidemic, blah, 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 blah.
We don't have a male loneliness epidemic, we have a male effort epidemic.
Opinion pieces like those from New University argue that labeling loneliness as a male problem actually misgenders a universal issue. The U.S. Surgeon General even called loneliness a public health epidemic in 2023. But again, this is not about men alone. Loneliness cuts across gender, age, and class. Framing it as a male problem deflects attention from the reality. The issue is universal, but the ways some men respond to it, with hostility, misogyny, or withdrawal into toxic communities, create a unique danger. Government research in the UK has described incels as an online subculture that builds identity around failure to form relationships. These communities are characterized by anger, resentment, and misogyny. Many participants blame women, and some justify violence. Alongside incels is the broader manosphere, online spaces that reduce women to targets in a game.
All cheating scenarios, 100% the blame is always on the female.
24/7 had to rape somebody? That doesn't make sense.
Money is more important to them than doing the right thing.
Advice from pickup artists, misogynistic forums, and YouTube influencers create a feedback loop that funnels isolated men deeper into extremism. Political scientists warn that these environments are not just unhealthy, they can radicalize. Isolated men become easy recruits for extremist movements, reinforcing a worldview where women are the enemy rather than equal partners. Meanwhile, women's caution in dating is not paranoia. It is rational. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022, reproductive rights have been under sustained attack. By early 2024, more than 20 states had enacted significant abortion restrictions. Surveys found that 12% of singles under 50 said these changes made them more hesitant to date, and 21% of Gen Z singles reported heightened anxiety about pregnancy. Women are not boycotting men for sport. They are protecting themselves in a legal environment that makes pregnancy a risk. The Heritage Foundation's Project 20 to 25 blueprint goes even further, aiming to roll back civil rights protections, impose a national abortion ban, and restore patriarchal family models. In this climate, mistrust is not surprising. It's survival. In South Korea, around 2015, a feminist lifestyle movement called 4B emerged. It stands for no marriage, no childbirth, no dating, and no sex. Initially a Korean phenomenon, it spread globally in 2024 after Donald Trump's re-election. Hashtags like number 4B went viral on TikTok, resonating with women abroad. 4B isn't simply about rejecting men, it's a survival strategy in a world where gender-based violence remains pervasive and reproductive rights are under siege. In the US, we've seen similar trends like boy sober, where young women abstain from heterosexual dating to focus on friendships and personal growth. TikTok is now filled with women openly discussing why avoiding men feels safer and healthier. But just as some women turn away from men, others are pushed toward a nostalgic fantasy, the tradwife. On TikTok and Instagram, tradwife influencers post idyllic images of homemade bread, perfect gardens, and submissive devotion to husbands. It looks harmless, even charming. But beneath the pastel aesthetic lies an ideology. Women belong in the home, dependent on men, submissive and silent. Researchers describe tradwifery as a patriarchal bargain, a way of packaging women's disempowerment as empowerment. Influencers profit by romanticizing an era when women had no real choice. This is less about tradition and more about commercialized patriarchy, a lifestyle brand designed to reassure reactionary men that some women will submit. So where does this leave us? The evidence is clear. Loneliness is not uniquely male. Men and women experience it in equal measure. But unlike women, men are told their loneliness is the world's fault, that feminists, reproductive rights, or women's autonomy are to blame. This narrative turns a universal human struggle into a weapon against women. When women exercise autonomy, when they choose not to date, not to risk unsafe pregnancies, not to engage with misogynistic partners, men frame this as an epidemic. They call themselves victims, while ignoring the structural violence and inequality women face daily. The real crisis isn't that men are lonely. It's that too many respond to loneliness with entitlement, hostility, or extremist ideology. The so-called male loneliness epidemic is a myth. Loneliness is real, but it is not gendered. What makes the male version unique is the way it has been weaponized to excuse misogyny. Women's cautiousness is not cruelty. Movements like 4B or the boy sober trend are not attacks on men. They are acts of self-protection in societies that continue to strip away women's rights. If men truly want loneliness to end, the solution is not to wallow in forums or buy into tradwife fantasies. It is to respect women's autonomy, support reproductive rights, reject misogyny, and prioritize safety and independence of women. When society helps women to act free without fear, connections become possible. And in that world, the notion of a male-only loneliness crisis fades away, revealed for what it always was: a distraction from the deeper issue of how society treats women.